The Owyhee population of the Columbia spotted frog is classified as a species of special concern. This means it's a candidate for listing under the Federal Endangered Species Act. But more information is necessary to determine whether it's truly in trouble or not. So how does one go about finding a frog about the size of this rock in a huge desert? Although it may come as no surprise to people who grew up here, research biologist Janice Engel couldn't imagine frogs living in a desert.
I was amazed. I mean, we're in the middle of the desert, and there are frogs everywhere there's water, or pretty much everywhere.
As you may have guessed from the drawl, she hails from America's deep south, and catching frogs and tadpoles were part of growing up in the marshy, humid climate of her childhood. Now it's become part of her son Robbie's life. But it's a bit more complicated than wandering down to the backyard creek with an old peanut butter jar.
What we did here, this drift fence has 5 buckets inside and right now just 2 buckets on the outside. So that would catch individuals that are trying to leave the pond or come to it. And we could identify who they are by their pit tag and try and get an idea on their movements.
It's the 3rd year of the study, and Janice and her crew have tagged over 1,600 frogs in a 30-square-mile area. Each is marked with a passive integrated transponder, or pit tag, that looks like this. It's a tiny computer chip that's inserted beneath the skin on the frog's back.
If you slide it all the way back down here, it normally does not move. It stays somewhere right around the back.
Now, when Janice passes this device over the tagged frogs, she can read the individual computer code.
414C547864.
Each time a frog is captured, whether it's the first time or a recapture, Janice records the time, date, and weather conditions. Then it's measured and weighed. Then she gets a reading off the Global Positioning System, or GPS. This tells the exact longitude and latitude where the frog was found. Later, Janice will record all these positions on a map. In this manner, she can plot where each individual frog has moved since the last time it was caught. Eventually, she should be able to get a picture of how much frogs move and mix among populations, and also what the barriers are to movement, such as large stretches of desert with no water. This could dictate management strategies if indeed it's discovered there is a concern about the Owyhee population of Columbia spotted frogs.
If there is continuous movement everywhere we go, then we would consider it all to be one large population, and that's real good for the frogs. The potential to recolonize places that might go extinct would increase with the more continuous population. On the other hand, if we find that in certain areas such as this, we have no movement, they stay here all year, they breed here, hibernate, forage, everything, don't go anyplace else, then that looks bad for the species overall, or at least this population, because that means that they won't be moving out and trying to recolonize new areas. Isn't that a nice big one?
But the goal for now is to catch frogs. Is there any finer way to spend the summer than reliving the best of your own childhood and sharing it with your son?
I've been catching frogs since I was a little kid, and I think my parents always hoped I'd outgrow this. But actually, I never knew that I could go to school, study biology, and then my special area interest be something that I thought was really cool as a little kid. So I'm really lucky.